Chapter 5 of The Island at the End of Everything. It's called The Results. The paper in my hand is different from Nane's, but the same as Bondok's. The sano and leprosy boxes are empty and it is unstamped. I suppose that this means they're waiting for the cotton to tell them things Dr. Rodell can't see before deciding what I am. I know that being touched comes from tiny specks that travel in your body. That is why Nane and I must be careful not to drink from the same water or eat from the same spoon, in case these tiny specks go from her to me. But I didn't know that anyone would be able to see them from swabbing my nostril. My nose tingles and I rub it, wondering how I will feel if I'm touched and can stay. How will I feel if I'm untouched and have to go? Both possibilities crouch heavy as demons on my shoulders. The men are still working in the field. Already I can't remember how it looked without houses on it. It's funny how that happens. I can't remember how Nane's face looked before her nose folded, or what school was like before Sister Marguerite came. The way things are rewrites, the way things were so quickly. Nane is fussing around inside the house when we arrive, sweeping up dust from the dirt floor and then re-sweeping it in the other direction. Capuno is watching her with an amused expression on his face. Well? Bondok settles down beside his brother to tell them about the government doctors and the curtains drawn around in triangles and the cotton sticks in our nostrils. Where did they put the patients? Asked Nane. Ame, did you see Rosita? No, the beds were all empty and pushed up against the walls. That man probably kicked them out into the street, she said, meaning Mr. Zamora. So they took swabs, said Capuno. What help will that be? For a microscope, said Bondok. My doctor said they brought one with them from Manila. What's a microscope? I asked. It shows you things up close, said Nane. I will tell the doctors. It will tell the doctors if you have the tiny specks that make you touched. I hope I do, said Bondok bitterly. I hope I gave them to Mr. Zamora when I stood before him in the church. Bondok, she says, you don't know what you are talking about. What do your papers look like? Capuno asked me, and I know he's changing the subject. I show him the paper and he shakes his head. So now we wait. We wait for a very long time. A whole evening and morning sky circles above us. Bondok and Capuno sleep by our fire, and in the morning they made us breakfast. We sit inside all day so we don't miss the knock. But soon it's evening again, and the moon is in its fullest, roundest outside. Nane, Bondok, Capuno and I are just sitting down to a meal of rice and salted fish when someone raps at the door. Come in, says Nane. Dr. Thomas steps inside. We were just about to eat, she says, getting up stiffly. My apologies, Tala. I have the results for Ame and you, Bondok. Well? Would you rather I came back? He looks nervous, and I know it's not good news. But then I don't know what news could be fully good. No, says Bondok, who has not stood up and is glaring at Dr. Thomas. Tell us what your Mr. Zamora has sent you to say. Dr. Thomas clears his throat and passes 2 pieces of paper to Nane and Capuno. These are your official papers. They are to confirm that you have Mycobacterium leprae and must reside within the leproso areas when they come into force. And me? Says Bondok. You are clean, says Dr. Thomas, and holds out another piece of paper. Bondok stands and snatches it from his hand. You even talk like them now, he hisses, and Dr. Thomas drops his eyes. And Ame? Says Nane. I can hear the quiver on her lips. I'm so sorry, Tala, says Dr. Thomas. Nane takes the paper from his hands and scans it, and then she starts to cry. Nane? She tries to speak, but her whole body is shaking. Sister Marguerite will come tomorrow to explain what this means. Dr. Thomas leaves quietly. Bondok takes the paper and says, Oh, Tala. He passes it to me. Beneath my name and age Above the blue ink stamp is a neat cross in a box. Below the box is a single word. Now I know which word I would have preferred, and it wasn't this. Sano. Nana is worn out from crying, so she goes to bed while the rest of us tidy up. When the brothers leave, I'm still fizzing with energy. I hover outside our bedroom. Nana! I can hear her ragged breathing and sit beside her on the bed. Her back is to me. I'm sorry, I say. Her hand reaches behind her and gropes for mine. Why are you apologising? This is good news. Another sob grips her throat as she speaks. You are well, my little girl. Healthy. This is good news. I can't think of anything to say, so I just sit there until her breaths slow into sleep. I'm not tired at all. My blood feels as if it is filled with little beads of heat. It will be noisy for Nane if I stay in the house to play, so I collect the racing berries from the garden and go into the street. My feet take me to the field where we queued. The houses grow like square bushes either side of the sewage channel. The men have all left, and the only light comes from the moon and the hospital. I wonder about going to see if Rosita is there, but I don't want the government doctors to see me. Nane will be worried if she wakes up and I'm not there. I walk part way up the new street and begin to place one of my racing berries on the threshold of each of the houses as a welcome present. I run out of berries and begin picking more from a low shrub before I realise it's silly. They probably won't even notice the berries. Even if they do, they won't know who they're from, because when they arrive, I'll be gone. My chest aches. It is only by climbing into bed with Nane and curling my body against the warm scoop of her back that it begins to loosen. I tuck one of the berries into her pocket and hope that she at least will know that it is from me.